Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy?
Well, Hollywood, you've done it again. Once again, you've made a big-budget superhero movie without consulting me first. I don't know why this keeps happening. I'm not that hard to get in touch with. You just keep making the same mistakes over and over again. And you've done it again now with Suicide Squad. I keep telling you, next time you have a big-budget superhero movie, just run the script by me first. I'll look it over, I'll let you know where you made all your mistakes, and then you can release the movie, and you won't have all these internet trolls coming after you. So, you know, I'm just making the offer. I'm trying to help you out here. So with that thought in mind, let's take a look at how I could have saved Suicide Squad. Okay. The movie starts off wrong. It starts off with a big mistake. The mistake is the motivation for why the team gets together. Hear me out. At the beginning of the movie, you got some army guy who says, "What if Superman was to fly down, rip off the roof of the White House, and blah, 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 blah." That's what they're giving as the motivation for why the Suicide Squad is created. And that's ridiculous. Like, this guy's saying if Superman were to turn evil, this is who you would send up against him? A girl with a baseball bat, a guy with a boomerang, and a guy with crocodile skin? That's who the team you're putting together as your failsafe if Superman goes bad? So right off the bat, the premise of the movie is flawed. The concept of Suicide Squad, based on the comic book, it's supposed to be these are the guys who do the missions that the good guys don't want to do. They go the places where Superman won't go. They're willing to take on the tasks that Batman would not be willing to do. They'll go on take out a dictator of a foreign country. They'll go take out some terrorists, whatever. But they're not here to take down Superman. That's not the premise of the Suicide Squad. So, okay, right off the bat, the premise is badly flawed. The next mistake they made, this movie starts off, Superman is dead. Starts off with Superman's funeral. Now, I know that's a mistake from the previous movie, Batman v Superman. But it's still a huge mistake. It was a big error to kill Superman at this point in his career. He's too new. His death doesn't really mean anything at this point. Not to mention the fact that we all know he's coming back for Justice League anyway, so his death was even more pointless and meaningless than most superhero deaths. And then, in fact, they even practically negated Superman's death at the end of the previous movie when you saw some movement around his coffin. So, it was almost like the filmmakers were looking at you with a wink and going, "Yeah, Superman's dead, but don't worry, he'll be alright." Now, in this movie, the squad is formed as a result of Superman's death. And again, bad idea, but okay, let's go with it. That's why they formed the Suicide Squad, to fill the void left behind with Superman's absence. Now, here's the problem with that. We've already established in the DC movie universe that there are several superpowered heroes willing to do good with their powers. We already have Flash, Aquaman, Cyborg, Wonder Woman, and I'm not going to include Batman on that list because, let's face it, he's not much help when you're fighting a superpowered foe. See Batman's help when they fought against Doomsday. He really wasn't much help. He mostly just kind of, hung out in the background. "I'll sit this one out. You guys handle it." Let's pretend for a minute that Superman hadn't died in the previous movie. Let me tell you where they went wrong. Let's say Superman is alive at the beginning of Suicide Squad. So at the beginning of the movie, the Enchantress starts acting up in Midway City. She's causing all kinds of problems. And so the government's like, "Hey, we'll send in Superman. He'll solve everything." And Superman goes, "I'll take care of this." Flies in. And now at this point in his career, Superman does not know that he is susceptible to magic. That's right. There are only two things that can hurt Superman: kryptonite and magic. So imagine Superman's reaction when he flies in thinking this is going to be a walk in the park, taking out the Enchantress. She just casts one spell. Next thing you know, Superman's on ice. He's frozen. He can't move. He's in stasis. He's in limbo. He's just helpless. He can't do anything against magic. That's when you call in the Suicide Squad. See how I already made the movie better? See how I did that? It really wasn't that hard. Now, Batman's in this movie. At the beginning of the movie, he just, he's right on point. He's putting all the bad guys in jail. But then, in the middle of the movie, when the bad guys are, when Enchantress is acting up in Midway City, we don't even see Batman again for the rest of the movie. He never even bothers showing up. It's almost like he's like, wait, there's trouble in, what? Midway City? I'm not sure where that is. Let me check my GPS. It's too far. It's out of my jurisdiction. I'll let someone else handle this one. Like all those guys I put in jail, they can handle it. And that's part of the problem with these shared universe movies is they never really have a good excuse why all the other characters aren't in the movie. Why isn't Flash racing to Midway City? Why isn't Wonder Woman flying in there with her invisible jet? Why isn't anybody else except these bad guys going to fight the Enchantress? That's the problem with all these shared universe movies. Now, okay. We need to fix the ending to this movie, Suicide Squad. At one point in the movie, Rick Flag breaks his detonator and tells the squad that they're free to go. Now, what the hell is he thinking? These people are murderers. They're criminals. Even if he's disillusioned, he's lost faith, he has no more hope in the mission, these are still criminals, and he shouldn't be telling them they can go free. That was stupid. What they should have done was, they should have had, the squad goes in, tries to fight the Enchantress, gets their butts kicked, they go running out of there with their tail between their legs, the army gets wiped out, Rick Flag gets hurt or captured, he loses his phone, Amanda Waller gets captured, she loses her phone, and then the squad decides amongst themselves, hey, we're going to finish this thing. We're going to go back. Even though we could walk free right now, we're going to go in there and finish this job that we started. And then, someone can even point out, look, if we go free, if the Enchantress takes over the world and kills all the people, there's not going to be much of a world left for us anyway. So it's just common sense for the squad to go in and take out the Enchantress. That would have been a better ending, I think, if the squad was more motivated. Now, I will say, I think it was a mistake to have the Enchantress as the villain in the movie. She's kind of a boring villain. You don't know what her motivation is. She's building some kind of super weapon. You don't really know what it is. They don't really explain it. It's just a weapon. Yeah, but what kind of... No, it's a weapon. Right, but what is it? Don't worry. It's just a weapon. That's all you need to know. All right. And in fact, her weapon reminded me a lot of that machine in the Man of Steel movie, where all the beams of light are flying up into the sky the whole time. So it seemed kind of like a rehash of Man of Steel there. I don't think the squad should have faced a supernatural foe in their first movie. I thought it would have been more interesting if they fought a more down-to-earth villain, someone like Deathstroke or any numerous other DC villains who would have been more in their league. The movie tries really hard to make the heroes useful, but, when you've got heroes who... Look, there's only two people in Suicide Squad who have superpowers, and that's Killer Croc and Diablo. The other characters in the movie, if you took away their boomerangs and their bats and their hammers and their guns, they don't have any powers. So there's a problem right there. So what happens is, Enchantress creates these minions to do her bidding, and the minions are so weak and useless, they can easily be killed by baseball bats, boomerangs, and bullets. And you might argue, well, aren't all the minions useless in every action and sci-fi movie ever made, going back to Star Wars? And true, they were, but I mean, if you look at like the first Lord of the Rings, when they create those Dark Riders, they seem like they're going to be really powerful. I mean, they turn out to be mostly pushovers too, but they were pretty scary at first when you first met them. In this movie, the minions look like walking piles of shit, which makes me ask, why is it seems like every superhero movie has to have characters in it, digital characters, who look like walking piles of shit? What is it? Is that the best the special effects artist can come up with? It's like someone, creates it on their computer. What do you think of this? Walking pile of shit? Yeah, let's go with that. I think that's the look we were looking for. Seems to work. So, in closing, I would like to say Suicide Squad is not a perfect movie. It's not a bad movie. It's not a great movie. It falls right there in the middle. smack there in the middle of the superhero spectrum. I will say that it is a better movie than Batman vs. Superman, which was a better movie than Man of Steel, which came before that. So it can truthfully be said that every DC Comics movie is better than the one before. So, Warner Brothers, if you're looking for your poll quote here, that's your quote. DC movies keep getting better and better. Now, I will say, this movie shows Will Smith's uncanny knack for picking scripts, because he passed on the Independence Day sequel, that crappy turd Resurgence, to do this movie instead. So he's clearly getting smarter with his movie choices. Now, remember, Smith's last attempt at a superhero franchise was Hancock, which wasn't really that well met. It didn't get that great a reception. That franchise died pretty much as soon as it was born. However, I think we'll be seeing a lot more of Will Smith as Deadshot. Definitely a lot more Deadshot in his future. I also think we'll be seeing a lot more of Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, because, let's face it, she's the best thing in the movie. Everybody loves Harley Quinn. Margot Robbie, stunningly gorgeous. She should just be in every movie. If she was in the new Ghostbusters, I would have seen that. She's just so beautiful to look at. You just can't take your eyes off her. She's just amazing. Looking forward to the upcoming, Harley Joker movie with Batman. That should be fun. I didn't mind the Joker in this movie. I thought he was fine. I mean, it's a different take on the Joker. Every movie feels like they have to do something different with the character. And this movie, they did. I thought it was interesting that he doesn't go for the high-pitched laugh, the woohoo that Cesar Romero used to do, or Jack Nicholson. He goes for a laugh that goes like this. Ha, ha, ha. I kind of liked it. It sounded like the laugh of a crazy person, so it worked for me. There is one other serious misstep in this movie I'd like to mention. The scene where Amanda Waller brutally guns down 4 of her own agents because they don't have enough clearance for this mission, that was just stupid. That scene should be cut right out of the movie. Just, we've already established that Amanda Waller is a badass. We know she can go toe-to-toe with some of the toughest supervillains in the world. We don't need to see her shooting down her own people for any reason. When they release the DVD, that scene should just be snip it right out of there. You can thank me later. So that's about it. Suicide Squad. The next movie up, of course, is Justice League. Warner Brothers, you've got my number. Yes, let me take a look at it before you put it out there, because I'm sure I can fix it. I hope. Anyway, that's it for me today. This is Barry Dutter for How I Would Have Saved That Movie. We'll see you next time.